All right, so Tito and Chuck are going to fight November 23rd. It's in Los Angeles. And, I have to tell you, there's been some people that are resisting this and acting as though this is a joke as opposed to a fight. And I, for one, don't appreciate that. I really don't. I got my problems with Tito, but I wouldn't try to rewrite history and make believe that he didn't have a meaningful place in the sport, particularly in that part of California. They want to see him fight. That's a real thing. Give the guy a little bit of a break here. He's working hard towards something. That's pretty cool. He's taking on his nemesis, man. I get that too. I got nemesises out there. I'm sure you guys can relate to that, right? Even if you go back to high school, some guy, but somebody you think of. So these guys are actually going to do it, and then Chuck Liddell, boy, I've really been surprised with the reception that he's gotten. Again, back from people acting as though this is a joke. And it is a cash grab, that's true, but we know that's true because Chuck said as much. Chuck was very open about it, which I appreciated. He goes, didn't think I was going to need to fight again, but, some things changed. I had this job with the UFC. I don't have the job anymore. I'm going to go back and do one more. So I thought it was cool. I really did. I thought it was a cool thing. I think Chuck's taking it seriously. I hear that from Randy Couture, who's helping train him. I hear that from Jay Glazer, whose gym Chuck is training at. And I guess if I was to tell the truth, I'm looking forward to it. It's not the hottest fight in demand for me. I'm not trying to make believe it's something that it's not. But I was also very hard on these guys. I thought that the whole thing was smoke and mirrors. I never thought there was going to be a show. I would imagine that the show is going to be a little bit underwhelming in terms of the fact that it's right around the corner. Here we are in September. They're up in 2 months. We don't know who the co-main event is or who any of the rest of the card is. We don't know if this is in a ring or a cage. And those things are okay. We don't have to know them. I think that Oscar De La Hoya comes into this with a good, solid reputation from putting on good, solid events. So even though there's a lot of unanswered questions, I think that these guys do have the right. In fairness, if we're being fair about that, I think that Oscar De La Hoya does have the right for us to respect and look forward to what he's going to do. I don't know that he's ever let somebody down in the boxing realm. That's a fair statement. And, Chuck and Tito got some unfinished business. I think when you look at that fight and you get around the whole fact of, hey, why is this happening? It happened twice. It wasn't close. Why is it happening again? Once you get around that fact, I think picking a winner is a little bit harder than you may think it is. Chuck Liddell didn't leave the sport on his own. He was forced out of the sport. And the reason I bring that up isn't to kick Chuck. The reason I bring that up is he beat Tito twice, and he beat him pretty easily. But their careers seem to have changed. Tito has fought very recently, at least in comparison to Chuck's 8 years out. Tito's fought very recently, just over a year ago. I guess it'll be approaching 2 years. But that's a significant difference from 8 years out. And Tito is also younger than Chuck. And I think when Tito fought Chuck, it was very clear that he was scared of Chuck. I don't think he went out there and used his full skill set. I would imagine that those things have changed over the years. Is it enough to bridge the gap? Yeah, it probably is. It probably is. If they just went out there and fought, and Tito could let it go, he could loosen up. If you ever go watch him fight Chuck, he's so stiff, he's so scared. He has some remembrances of their sparring sessions, and he wasn't relaxed, he wasn't flowing. It stopped him. It made him tense. It made him tired way too early. I think if Tito can just go out there and relax, try to have a little bit of fun, which is hard to do in this sport, but if he can allow himself to have fun, it will allow him to relax, it will allow him to preserve his energy, and it will allow him to flow a little bit. He'll be able to open some offense. And the other side of it for Chuck is real simple. Look, if you've ever put a beating on a guy before, the next time you fight him, your very first contact with him has to be as rough as you can possibly be. Your first contact has to remind him of the past and has to remind him right now, nothing has changed and this is still my playground. That's the psychological aspect to it. I lay that out for you now. Can that go out and happen? I guess we're going to have to find out in November.